The frustrating job of the accidental sysadmin. As a developer, you just want to build a great website or mobile app, but somehow always end up as a system administrator. You spend a lot of time managing and configuring servers, databases, load balancers, firewalls, and networks instead of coding. Whenever you have to scale your servers to support more users, it becomes a headache because of the extra time you spend re-architecting your infrastructure. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just focus on writing code and building a great product and hand over the provisioning and scaling of the infrastructure and the installation and management of the application stack to someone else? Introducing AWS Elastic Beanstalk.
Anyone that has ever built their own custom web application has been in that same situation. Your database, views, and code are ready to go live, and you need the infrastructure to put your new creation out on the internet for everybody to enjoy. Fortunately, Amazon has developed a solution that reduces all the effort it takes to deploy a website and make the maintenance and scaling almost effortless. Let's learn about Amazon Elastic Beanstalk. This is Yopa Woolman, Jeremy Nee, John Lim, and Zach Clark, and this is our Cloudcast presentation. So what is Elastic Beanstalk for? As described in that video, Elastic Beanstalk simply is Amazon's solution to automate the deployment process of web applications. You can think of Beanstalk as a platform as a service with all the underlying infrastructure that you need to publish your content. Beanstalk relies on several underlying technologies to support the deployment. It first utilizes EC2 to create the instances that will host the app. It will also utilize auto-scaling to increase or decrease the EC2 capacity according to the conditions that you define. Elastic Load Balancing will automatically distribute incoming application traffic across multiple targets, such as your EC2 instances. S3, of course, will be used to store data generated by your application. These services all work together to make deployment of your web app both simple and scalable.
AWS Elastic Beanstalk supports the following languages and development stacks: PHP, Python, Ruby with Apache Server, .NET with IIS, and Java with Apache, Node.js, Docker, and Go. AWS is working with solution providers on the APIs and capabilities needed to create additional support for other languages and platforms. When using Elastic Beanstalk, you can use solution stacks for the latest platform configuration to create an environment. In addition, a platform configuration that you use to launch or update an environment remains available even after it's no longer current, as long as the environment is active, and up to 30 days after its termination. Use cases. If you just want to deploy your application using AWS and don't want to worry about elasticity, scalability, and all the management tasks that you would normally do before, Elastic Beanstalk is a good place to start. For example, your uncle, John, owns a pizza delivery store that takes orders through phone calls. He comes to you and asks you to create a web application that can let customers place order online. After a few months of hard work, you create an awesome Python web application for the pizza store that is ready to deploy on the server. However, the big problem is that you don't have the hard work, experience, and infrastructure to set up the server, nor do you want to spend too much time on server-side configuration and management. That's where AWS Elastic Beanstalk comes in handy. You only need to log into your AWS console, create a new Elastic Beanstalk environment, select Python as your platform, upload your application, view and launch your application, and you are all set. With Elastic Beanstalk, you can easily jump in with AWS and deploy web applications in a few minutes using Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, Python, Ruby, Go, or Docker, and Elastic Beanstalk will automate almost everything for you to deploy your application.
Elastic Beanstalk is free. The cost comes from AWS resources that your deployed code uses. Depending on the size of your application, Elastic Beanstalk will automatically handle capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto-scaling, and application health monitoring. Here we came up with a couple of examples that represent the wide variety of possibilities. The first example takes advantage of Amazon's free tier by only having a micro instance and 15 gigs of data transfer. This would be useful for students or others to get familiar with the AWS ecosystem, much like we're doing in class, or also for hosting very small apps. The second example highlights resources that a large web app might need. The app requires a greater variety of AWS resources, such as Route 53 and CloudFront, in order to deliver a more dynamic and capable app. One difficulty with cost, however, is that since Elastic Beanstalk dynamically adjusts to fit your needs, it can be hard to know exactly how much it's going to cost. If you can't provide accurate estimates, you may end up paying a lot more or a lot less than you had originally planned. Students in the past have run into problems where they unknowingly step out of the free tier and end up having to contact Amazon to hopefully get the charges canceled. AWS produces some useful resources to better understand their pricing as well as why it would be preferable to non-cloud solutions. The calculator here provides a cost breakdown of each AWS resource that you use. They also provide in-depth pricing as well as the principles behind them so that you can know how to maximize your cost effectiveness and meet your specific needs.
AWS Elastic Beanstalk does not comprise a significant portion of the cloud platforms and services being used by companies today. According to iData Labs, AWS Elastic Beanstalk is being used by approximately 0.2% of companies implementing cloud solutions, which translates to 2,283 total companies. Of these companies, most are smaller companies with less than 200 employees. Not many larger enterprises are currently implementing AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Of the three main cloud service categories, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, platform as a service has experienced the least amount of growth. Businesses typically decide to go with either SaaS or IaaS. SaaS offers complete software packages that are developed and ready to use. These require little maintenance and allow for immediate usage. On the other hand, IaaS requires the most amount of configuration. However, this hands-on approach allows developers and other IT professionals to set up their environments exactly how they want. This ability to customize everything appeals to many who have particular preferences when it comes to setting up systems. Platform as a service is less flexible when it comes to setting up environments. Developers usually prefer native development tools and sometimes feel trapped in the platform that's provided by the PaaS provider. These platforms often don't allow access to the underlying resources and can make security management difficult. For this reason, many businesses have shifted to more traditional technologies like the LAMP stack or simply integrated IaaS development tools. The rise of serverless computing has also negatively affected PaaS and enabled many to address the complexities of IaaS. Amidst all the negativity, AWS Beanstalk has been able to adapt and evolve with the trends in technology. According to TechTarget, while the overall outlook for PaaS tools might be grim, Beanstalk is not really pure PaaS technology. AWS has paired Beanstalk with other hundreds of cloud services it offers, including AWS Lambda. AWS does a good job of integrating emerging technologies with other services and tools in its stack. This makes it easier for developers to build serverless subsystems directly from the tool. This integration on its own could be the single reason that Beanstalk survives. For this reason, AWS Elastic Beanstalk has not followed the same downward trend as traditional PaaS platforms. However, Elastic Beanstalk is still considered a tool for all-in-one AWS systems since it can interact with other native AWS services. It does not fit well with workloads outside the AWS ecosystem, but that's probably what AWS intended. Thank you so much for watching our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it.